Wouldn't it be great if there was one place you can go to get all the latest information and tips about marketing and advertising? The Marketing Expedition community is that place. People like you gather in our online community to build relationships with others and find the latest marketing trends, tactics, tools, and technology. We help you build your brand and your bottom line. Start your adventure today. Visit themarketingexpedition.com to find out more. Welcome to Peppershock Media's Marketing Expedition podcast, keeping you up to date with the latest in marketing and advertising. Now here's your host, Ray Allen.
Welcome to the Marketing Expedition podcast and Zoom call with Nick. Nick, tell us who are you and what do you do?
I am Nick Loper. I run a site called SideHustleNation.com, and for the last almost 7 years have hosted the weekly Side Hustle Show podcast, which features different part-time business ideas that inspiring folks just like you have started and built up to something substantial.
And Nick, what originally gave you the idea to create the Side Hustle Show?
Honestly, like a lot of soul searching, to be honest, of like, what do you want to be known for when somebody Googles you? What do you never get tired about talking about? What what do people ask you for help? What kind of like these, niche selection questions that are all over the place right now. Started as a side project from the business that I was running at that time, which was that was the original side hustle. That was the vehicle that let me quit my job. That was a comparison shopping site for footwear, which I know dates me a little bit because comparison shopping is not what it once was. But in any case, had this thing built, pull in a bunch of footwear catalogs from a bunch of different retailers. The site would earn an affiliate commission on sales that were generated through the site. And that was my thing. 3 years of nights and weekends before I quit my job to do that full time. Ran that for a lot of years after that, and then finally started the blog and podcast on the side from that to spread the gospel of this lower risk brand of entrepreneurship.
And so now I have to ask, because it was a shoe comparison site, do you have a lot of shoes now?
I was like my own worst customer. Like I don't know. I probably bought 3 pairs over the course of almost 10 years.
Nice. So over the years, you've helped people just deconstruct tactics and different strategies that you help them build an extra income or a side hustle, right? So what are maybe some ideas that have been very popular that people have taken up from you or have learned from you? Just short and sweet, just a couple ideas that you love to tell people about.
Sure. So the big 3 or maybe the big 4 would be starting a service-based business. This is, I can go out and I can solve this problem for another business or another individual. Hours for dollars, but very simple, low overhead, quick to get started. Number 2 would be starting a product-based business. This could be physical products. This could be digital products. Like I'm going to create an ebook or a video course or a printable and sell it on Etsy or something like that. And it could even be I'll call it like a hybrid product. And Amazon recently shut down a lot of their print on demand facilities. But for the last several years, it's like you could upload a design, like a clever t-shirt design or something, and have it up for sale on Amazon. They handle the printing and shipping, fulfillment, all that stuff. Super cool. I'll call it like a hybrid because it's like you never had to touch the inventory, but it is a physical product down the road. And then business model number 3 is an audience-based business model where it's like I'm going to usually how it works is like I'm going to create content, I'm going to put it out into the world, podcast, YouTube, blog form, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, there's always new content channels coming up, but it's like I'm going to try and provide helpful content, entertaining content, and I'll build an audience on the back of that. That gives me options where I could either sell a product or service to that audience, or I can monetize with affiliate relationships, advertising relationships, stuff like that. And then the 4th model is kind of maybe farther down the road. Well, some people start with this one is like the investing model, right? Like we did not invent the term side hustle. People have been buying rental properties for thousands of years.
Yeah,
right?
for a long time. Yeah.
It's a tried and true thing. It definitely can still work. And so I would call investing maybe the 4th leg of that stool, or maybe the 4th business model.
Okay. And through your journey, you have also created many different tools and things that people can use. And right here I have in front of me
awesome.
a book that you've done, and on the back it's the one word secret to happiness. What's the one word secret to happiness?
This is per Tony Robbins. The one word secret is progress, a sense of progress. Like, am I better today than I was yesterday? Can I be better tomorrow than I was today?
I love that. Excellent. And yeah, so for the progress journal, it's a day planner that you can make meaningful purpose and progress, right? Progress on your most important work by yours truly. There you go. So wait, where do people go to get this book, by the way?
Progressjournal.net will just redirect you over to Amazon.
Okay. So through this process, I mean, the time frame right now, we're, mid COVID-19 quarantine, where a lot of people are looking at different alternative options to start side hustles, or maybe it is just they're going to start a new business because they either got laid off or who knows what's happening. What have you seen? Have you seen an uptick in people wanting to talk to you about side hustles? What's been going on in your world lately?
It's interesting. The first few weeks when it really started, the exponential growth really started happening, and everybody's like, well, it came out of nowhere. It's like, yes, that's the definition of going viral, right? Like, it's exponential. Yeah. But the first couple of weeks,
viral, virus going viral. Hang on, wait, we got to coin that one.
It was, everything was down. Like, podcast was down. Fewer people commuting is one thing that I'll attribute to that. And just like, that's not what is on people's mind right now. So I think, that the business was not immune to that. First couple of weeks, website traffic was down, not a huge amount, but maybe 10, 15%. In the last couple of weeks, as maybe the reality has set in, or the unemployment has set in, or the temporary furloughs, like, how can I improve my financial resilience? How can I start to cut my own paycheck? What can I do to make extra money? The site traffic has picked back up in the last couple of weeks, and I don't know if the podcast will return until the commuting starts, but definitely I'm seeing some interest in the web traffic, or at least according to some of the web metrics. Right.
Now, it's interesting because online virtual networking events, normally, after hours events would be something of, popularity. And I took a fundraising event that was supposed to be for 500 people in a, live setting. It would be after hours, wine and dine and appetizers and talking. And we actually split it into two virtual events. And we did one at 9:30 in the morning, and then the same one at 5:30 virtually. And we had more people registering in the morning than we did in the after hours one, because everyone's home now. They have things, that they can do in the morning. So I just thought it was really, and it's just interesting what's changing, and what further will be interesting after we're out of this quarantine. Businesses like yours, I mean, it's going to, I think, grow exponentially, and a lot more opportunities are going to arise from this. Are you doing things different? Have you pivoted anything since you've been in quarantine?
Well, I haven't had much. I was just going to say, I haven't had the time, which is, I've been trying to catch myself from saying that, to say, I prioritize something else. Like, that was,
there you go.
The more truthful way of phrasing it. But I'm down to working just a couple of days a week right now, sharing childcare duties with my wife. So time has been really limited, but we're just kind of plugging away at the projects that were in the queue. Some of the editorial content that we had mapped out, keeping a buffer of podcast recordings, and just trying not to be super opportunistic in a way, where it's here are 19 COVID-19 side hustles you could start today. I imagine there are people looking for that, but it feels kind of greedy in a way. We had people posting in the Facebook group early on about flipping hand sanitizer. It's like, guys, stop! You're not helping anyone right now.
You're perpetuating the fear, right?
Yeah. So that's part of it. And one thing that is interesting, I think we're probably at an inflection point for remote work, in that a lot of these companies that have the ability to still get stuff done remotely are going to say, why were we subjecting our employees to an hour of traffic each way? Why are we leasing this giant commercial space? Maybe we could, there's still some value in, person-to-person camaraderie and the ideas of, bouncing off, working shoulder to shoulder with somebody. But do we need this overhead infrastructure that was just kind of a baked-in assumption before? So I think that may be interesting. And obviously companies like Zoom are well positioned to facilitate that. But curious what this means for the future of commercial real estate for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, where they've canceled, any open houses or anything, you can just do virtual now, right? Virtual tours, more so than before. And I do see the rise. Yeah, I should have bought into Zoom stock early on, but
right.
So yeah, I mean, I think that there are going to be some changes, and with us, we have 10 people working for us, and they're all working from home remotely, and it's definitely going to be a different world. Fortunately for us, we had already once a week allowed our staff to work from home anyway, but it's interesting to see now what's going to really happen with the rest of the world that's catching up to that idea from working from home for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I was, I kind of kicked myself for not saying anything to the Amazon guy who I saw out walking the dog the other day. It's just like, thank you. It's like seeing a service member, like, thank you for your service. It feels weird, but it's like you're keeping a lot of this infrastructure going, and you're putting yourself at risk doing it. So you're trying to limit the person-to-person contact. It's just a weird time.
It is. I know our mailman or mail woman came, and normally we have a guy, and I was like, oh, well, you're new at this. She's like, yeah, we've been working like 10, 12-hour days, and post office is hiring, by the way, because it's like people need their mail, people need their deliveries and packages and everything. For sure.
Yeah.
Did you catch up on the Netflix phenomenon, the Tiger King at all?
I have not. I was asking my wife about it because I saw everybody posting about it, and she had read some synopsis. But by the time the kids are finally in bed, we're like, all right, let's just go to bed too.
Yeah. So, and how many kids do you have? You said?
Yeah, two boys. They're 4 and 2.
Awesome. I have a 12 and 14-year-old, so also 2 boys. Yeah. Okay. And and it's true. It's just interesting working from home. And like this morning I was working on my youngest son, helping him with his homework, and realized, oh, I'm supposed to be on a Zoom call at 11. Oh no, I'm like, but
how does it work? So this is one thing we were really like, oh, it could be so much worse. We could have a 12 and a 14-year-old. Like, we would need so much more food. Like, no. what are you guys doing for food supplies?
Oh my gosh. Well, we signed up for delivery because they drink milk like it's going out of style. So we have milk arriving to us weekly. And, it's interesting that everybody wanted to stock up on toilet paper. Now I see why, because we're all home, Yeah. But fortunately I had already had, a big Costco thing of toilet paper before this all started. So hopefully, knock on wood, we'll be okay. Anyway, yeah. So you're right. I mean, it's just keeping him busy, keeping him on a schedule, doing things, walking the dog, and every day at 3:00 they meet up with my mother-in-law. She lives a couple miles from us, so they meet up on the green belt. They can't talk, touch each other, 6 feet distance, and then they say, and then they walk away. So that's been good to trying to keep him on a routine, that kind of thing. But you're right. I mean, trying to get work done and doing all the things, right?
Yeah. And what we found, I don't know if you found the same thing, is that 6-foot distance is awkwardly far. It's not like you would be like, hey buddy, right up in somebody's grill, but it's just like,
or like the elbow,
maybe like a half a step closer. My friend was telling me about, he went out to drop off some food because their friends had a new baby. And his other friend was living across the street, saw him, and he comes out, pokes his head out of the garage, and they're standing there talking in this awkward 6-foot triangle. And he's like, you guys want a beer? Like, all right, sanitize it, toss it over. And they're just sitting there. It's like,
yeah. We've done some Zoom parties where we toast and put the wine glass to the camera, but yeah.
And maybe a silver lining is I feel like we're talking to family more often than we normally would.
I know.
We got to kill some time here. Let's call grandma again.
Yep, and do story times with grandma or whatever, for sure. Yep. So I think I'm just kind of back to what you do and the things that you're doing. I want to know if you have people that you work with, what are some success stories? What are some things that people have done that maybe don't take a lot of time because we're, like you said, we have to really prioritize our time, but what are some ideas of things that have happened that you've seen other people do that have just been pretty successful?
Some time leverage stuff. So this is actually really important because if you think about your income pie, and for me starting out, for almost everybody starting out, that pie is 100% my job. That's my only source of income. And then over time, maybe you do some investments and you have like a tiny sliver of interest or dividends that's coming your way. But the goal, and Warren Buffett puts this like really bluntly, like if you don't figure out a way to make money in your sleep, you will work until you die. And it just hits you. And you're like,
Oh, yeah.
oh,
Making money in your sleep. I love that. Yeah.
and so you're like, well, okay, so how do I do that? And it's like, unless you are proactive about it, and you can do that through, a lifetime of investing, sure, and then, draw down in your retirement. But like you can accelerate that. And some common ways to do that would be through building an audience-based business where you have time leverage, where you can create a podcast once and it takes the same effort to produce, whether 10 people listen or 10,000 people listen, right? So you have some leverage there. You can do that through real estate. Another common where it's like, okay, again, use leverage and acquire rental properties and do all sorts of, and like, earn a return on that. So those is probably the three most common routes, where traditional stock market investing, real estate, and then like building a business. The fastest path is probably this business building path. It's also the arguable, I don't know, maybe it's risky, maybe it's not, because it's like, as long as you limit your downside risk, then you're only risking your time, right? You didn't have to spend a ton of money to get it off the ground. One story that I just love from the Side Hustle Show archives was this dad in Chicago, husband and dad in Chicago. He's got like, I think 4 kids now, maybe 3 when we first recorded. His side hustle was fixing motorcycles, straight up, hours for dollars, service-based business, ad on Craigslist. Like, don't take your bike to the dealership. Don't pay dealership rates. Take it to me instead. I know what I'm doing. But what was really cool, or what was really smart of him early on, set up a little camera, filmed himself doing the repairs, and now he's got content from YouTube. And this is 100% speculative in the early days, but he's thinking about that income pie. Like, how can I grow that time leveraged piece of it, that passive piece of it? And today he's like, because I was like, if you stop fixing bikes, like, how do you get content? He's like, well, I just buy project bikes, or look at whatever a popular model is and look for common problems and I'll fix it. And so
he's looking for problems on purpose. That's awesome.
Yeah, making money from YouTube ads, making money selling like full engine rebuilds as a digital product. Insurance companies have discovered his channel. They're like, hey, we're looking for an expert to create some, motorcycle content for us. Would you be our guy? Like, oh, shoot, yeah, I'll do another video. And it started out without knowing where it was going to lead, and started out, very much hours for dollars. Mm-hmm. But over the course of 5 or 6 years has become this completely time leveraged thing. It's got this whole brand built around it. And so that's just one example of, making sure you carve out a little bit of time in your week to devote to these, possibly speculative, low risk, high reward activities, I guess.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, and video, is so easily accessible to anybody. And we edit video for people. And that's one of the things we said. You shoot it, we'll edit it. Or you put it together, we'll help you do it. And I think that that's more of a great example of what you can do with video these days, for sure. It seems like you can monetize it too. Yeah, we've had guests build entire businesses off of YouTube as a traffic driver. YouTube is sitting at the top of their, marketing funnel, so to speak. One example, I guess not in a make money space, is Jacques Hopkins from pianoin21days.com. Like, hey, I'll teach you how to play modern songs on the piano in like 3 weeks flat. Like, here's how I do it. And he ranks really well on YouTube for like how to play piano, learn piano fast. It's kind of these high level keywords. Mm-hmm. He does his demo, does his tutorial. And at the end of the video is like, hey, why don't you come in, check out my site, opt in for my thing, come on in, the water's warm. And then that leads people down this ultimate sales funnel where he sells, I want to say, a $500 at the high end, online piano course. Right.
Which is like,
now I got to go check out the piano course for sure.
free traffic. It's fascinating because like when we first connected, and he's got kind of a bigger library of content now, but it was like just a couple videos were driving the bulk of his traffic, and now he's got paid ads and everything else. Mm-hmm. But like, it was a really simple kind of visitor flow or customer flow in the early days. There's a lot of moving parts in online business, but it's like, it's traffic plus conversions. So he had like a source of traffic and something to sell them. Right. And it was like, okay, now I'm off to the races.
That's very cool. And how would people, if they want to get your help, where do they go to get your help?
So the Side Hustle Nation Facebook community is probably like my most active social channel. That's at sidehustlenation.com/FB. We'll redirect over there. Think of like another place to check out. Like obviously the show comes out every week, but if you're kind of in the midst of, the idea phase, you can check out sidehustlenation.com/ideas. This is my constantly updated list of ways to make extra money. No opt-in required. My hope is the time you scroll down to the bottom, you got like 8 or 10 different browser tabs open. If you've done that, I've done my job. And you say like, that sounds interesting. I want to learn more about that. Okay, let me check that out.
That's great. That's awesome. And that's free for people to get your ideas. That's really cool and generous of you.
Well, it's a business at the other end too.
Right,
So just
of course.
for full disclosure.
Of course. Yeah. No, but that's good. All right. Well, Nick, I really appreciate your time and spending time with me. And I know you've got your kids at home right now with this whole COVID crisis, but thank you for sharing with us. And I'll just give you a little side hustle that we're building. We are creating the marketingexpedition.com for the online community. And so those are places that we're posting ideas and inspiration and podcasts. So our podcasts will go there as well. And the Facebook group is free, but like you said, there is the business on the other side of that. So after all the time that Peppershock Media, my company, and my husband and I put this together, we thought we would use all of that information and put it together in a website too. So love for you to check that out as well. And maybe we can do some collaboration there. So again, thank you for this. And go ahead.
I was gonna turn it around and ask, like, what have you found as the most effective way to market the podcast or market some of your stuff?
Trial and error at first, honestly, but reaching out to others and doing swapcasting and talking to other people like you and people who have some value to give, right? We want to share and show that with other people on our shows. And then, driving traffic to the website, using some marketing automation and Facebook ads and just building our community. And really it was just doing monthly webinars to start. And then Facebook Live became a thing. And so we're doing Zoom webinars and Facebook Lives, and that kind of helps attract people. And then the Facebook group has been growing.
I should take a note. So I should do some of this stuff.
Well, I think that the Facebook group, we have like a little over 500, we'll have like 550 people on it now, but it's like within the last 2 weeks with this COVID thing, it's like grown exponentially. People want to know what they need to do in order to market their business, to keep their business alive, right? So we've been just helping people as much as we can. We've been doing virtual meetups and networking. So you're welcome to join us. We're going to do the social hour shut-in shindig on Thursdays at 4:30 Mountain Time. And then on Fridays, because I told you how sometimes people can do in the morning versus afternoon. So on the opposite Fridays, so next Friday, not this Friday, we're going to do the Marketing Expedition virtual meetup. So it's free to join, and people can tell us all about their business and who they are, and job seekers too, because we're in a world right now that we have a lot of people looking for work, and to no fault of their own. So business owners, job seekers, marketing people that just want to get some ideas to help them market their business too. Yeah,
I like it. Yeah, that's awesome to be, at the hub of making these connections, and that's a really
I
cool
love
place
to
be.
connect people. I love people. I'm an extrovert by nature. That meme that's been floating around that says like introvert people check on your extroverts, they're not okay. I resemble that. And so like virtual hugs are what I get to do now. But yeah, it's a great way to still connect with people, even though it's through Zoom, Zoom parties.
Yeah. I know my 4-year-old is like, can I see my friends in rectangles today? And it's like, oh my gosh, that's so cute.
Yeah. What's rectangles? Is that?
That's his, Zoom call with his classmates.
Oh, in rectangles. Oh, okay. I was like, oh, nice. Hey, that's pretty good for a 4-year-old to figure out the shapes. That's great. Nice. Yeah. Our kids too, like they've been Google Hangout and chatting, and I did a Zoom party for them. We were supposed to do a big, massive spring break mega sleepover party, right?
Oh.
And so then we had to postpone it, but then all the announcements, and my poor little guy was like, Mom, all my friends were supposed to come over, and they had all the plans and what they were going to eat and who was going to bring what and what games they were going to play, video games, all this stuff, and ended up being that they were just on Zoom. So at least we could still connect them that way.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's tough for those guys, and it's tough times for everybody, but
absolutely.
At least we're able to connect.
I'm gonna fill out yours to swap, and we'll get on a call together again, and we'll get this out there as soon as possible, because I think it's valuable information for people to hear from you. So I really appreciate you spending time with me today and doing this for me. are with us. I should, for the audience, really, is what it is.
You bet. Well, thanks so much for the invite, and catch up soon.
All right. Thanks, Nick. Have a good day.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Expedition podcast. Find more online at peppershock.com. Wouldn't it be great if there was one place you can go to get all the latest information and tips about marketing and advertising? The Marketing Expedition community is that place. People like you gather in our online community to build relationships with others and find the latest marketing trends, tactics, tools, and technology. We help you build your brand and your bottom line. Start your adventure today. Visit themarketingexpedition.com to find out more.